Welcome to the Sprinkles of Spirit podcast. I'm Lisa, and I am your host. With a lifelong passion for self-discovery, personal growth, and spirituality, I have realized the ability to transform our lives is a timeless gift that lies within each of us, waiting to be awakened. Join me in this space every Thursday as I share with you all of the powerful practices and tools that have helped me elevate my mind, body, and spirit, as I know they will do the same for you. Together, we'll unleash your potential through self-love, self-acceptance, and faith, empowering you to live an inspired life that radiates with authenticity, purpose, and unwavering joy. I am so grateful you are here. Remember, you are exactly where you are supposed to be, and you are loved beyond measure. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the podcast. This week, I'm very excited for this special edition of the Sprinkles of Spirit podcast. I want to sprinkle you with a special guest today who I have connected with in my life totally by divine design. He is a renowned motivational speaker, an ordained metaphysical minister, a trained intuitive, a business coach, and a best-selling author of Your Divine Life Purpose, which I have read and it's beautiful. Kevin Lee. Kevin, thank you so much for doing this with me.
You're so welcome. Great to see you. Great to see you. Thank you so much.
I'm so excited. I wanted to start interviews this year or next year rather. I was going to start in January, but this one kind of just totally
divinely guided.
It really was. I was like, okay, my angels were like, no, you're doing this tonight. I'm like, okay, let's do it. So I read your book, and first of all, it was so beautifully written with authenticity and vulnerability.
Yeah.
And your story is it's very touching. I teared up several times reading your story, and bring my listeners up to speed with, and I've wanted to ask you this too, like, I know you grew up in the church.
Yep.
But when did you really truly connect with your spirituality? And if you can, I've wanted to ask you this too. When somebody asks you, what is spirituality? How do you answer that? And then how did your own connection with your divine life purpose come from that?
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, it's really interesting, Lisa, because I grew up in Texas, and kind of the quick story is that, as most of us know in the world, Texas is always in the news for something, good or bad, good, bad, and ugly, lately ugly. Yeah. And it really has been that way for quite some time. I grew up in a very rural area, and we were an extremely conservative, very religious family. And my family is still highly conservative. And that part of the world, there's still segregation of the churches. They do not mix. I saw desegregated school busing in 1983, probably 30 minutes from my house where I grew up in Central Texas. That's 1983.
I read that.
Segregation happened in the 60s.
I could not believe that.
Yes. And wow. I don't even remember if I wrote that in the book, but that's actually just a fact.
You put it in the book and my mouth dropped open. I was like, what?
And so it kind of gives you a fragrance of what even though I'm white and even though I'm male, and we say that white men typically have, what is that word? White privilege. There's this privilege, even being a man over a woman, these tendencies in the world, it's really judgment is what it is at the core. So I grew up with all of this, but I was not the typical masculine male. I was very clumsy. I was definitely in my head all the time, had no muscles. I couldn't do a lot of the chores on the farm. It was very rigorous, hard work.
Yeah.
And I was really effeminate. I was just, I would cry. I was emotional. I was a dreamy kid. I was always fantasizing. I had a great imagination. I was kind of in my own little world, and I just didn't fit in. And I stood out like a sore thumb. And I was a problem. And I was a problem at church. I was a problem in my family, a problem in the community. Even television was telling me I was a problem. The religions kept telling me I was a problem. There's all these problems with me.
Yeah.
But I knew in my core that I was a good person. I knew what little I understood of the soul. I knew that was good, and everything else, well, maybe I can fix it later. So I didn't worry about it too much, but it still hurt the way I was treated.
Yeah.
And there was a situation, as you read in the book, where I had a confrontation with my father, and it didn't end well. And clearly, I survived that experience, but it really reinforced with me in that moment that I had nobody batting for me but myself. And that was the day I literally put on some big britches in my mind, because that was the day that I really matured and realized, if I want to make it in the world, if I want to live in this world, then I've got to take care of myself. I've got to be very strategic. And on an emotional and spiritual level, I knew I needed to find people that did believe in me, people who did love me, people who did want to be around me. And so I really began learning how to really good job of making people happy. And if I couldn't win them over with my charm or with my actions or the things I would do to make their day better, then it was, I would let them go if I couldn't win them over. But generally I could. So I learned to really build a community around me of people that supported me, meaning emotionally or intellectually, or sometimes I'd get a job out of friends. They would give me work to do. They would help me get through college and things like that. So growing up was tough, but real quick in my teenage years, I learned I had to fend for myself because I didn't have anyone else rooting for me.
Right.
And at that point, when I went off to college, I was very anti-God, very anti-church because of a lot of things that I experienced, and it just didn't make sense to me. And yet I'll say this on the flip side, because I don't think I spoke about it in my book, which was I still have a love for the concept of Master Jesus and Mother Mary, and I love the Christmas story, and I love all the prophets. I love all those old prophets.
Yes.
And some of my friends have they think they have a problem with that because they don't know if I've been beat by that book called the Bible, how is it I can still find joy in it in certain areas? I still find joy. I find there's beautiful golden truth hidden within. So that's really kind of what I experienced growing up. And tell me what was your second question?
Well, when somebody asks you, what is spirituality? How do you answer them?
Well, that took me a long time to get to that.
Right.
And what I'll tell you is, we know I grew up in a highly conservative religion, Southern Baptism, and I was then very much against it and very deliberate to avoid it. And in roughly 2007, I had a mystical experience, which brought me right back into the world of church, back into the world of spirit, what I call spirit. And I was quite shocked. But I found my soul came alive in the environment again. And I found purpose in helping other people have a better life. So I came to understand that it wasn't so much about the structure of the church, the building or the organization, but it was about really the spirituality of allowing my soul to shine, the goodness that's within. And if I can share that on a daily basis, in kindness, in my moments of gratitude and prayer, or in helping somebody that I see definitely needs help, or even in ways of creating a purpose-driven business like I'm doing that serves people, that's spirituality in really in action. So I really try to live my spirituality now, in an action-oriented form through my morning prayers, gratitude, through journaling, through creating my book. My book was really, it's a testimony to the fact that I sat in prayer for days,
Wow.
multiple times, and I actually spoke to Spirit. I told the spirit world what I wanted, which was a book full of words, a book full of concepts and symbolism that would touch the reader's soul and would help me pull all of my stories, experiences, and memories or thoughts together in a way that would benefit the reader. And so I said, I will be your open door. I need you to bring me these writings. And I'm not kidding when I say it poured through me, because I couldn't believe what really came forward in my writing, concepts, stories that I had experienced, but I'd never really thought about. Just it's like they bloomed spiritually. That's the only way I can describe it. All of it bloomed forward.
And you can feel it when you read it.
Totally.
100%. And I love that you wrote that you released it in 2020, right? Like during the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And what perfect divine timing too, because the world was, literally turned upside down, and so many people went through so much pain and so much trauma, and like what perfect divine timing for a book to inspire people who had to completely shift, and people who realized, oh, wait a minute, there's way more to my life. What am I doing? Started asking questions, who am I? What the heck am I doing?
Right.
And your book is so inspiring. So thinking of that, what can you tell someone, who just feels like life has continued to kick them down? It's like life is an uphill battle and they can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. Is there something tangible you could tell someone to connect to their life purpose? Or, I've had many people say to me, well, I don't know what my purpose is. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing.
I hear that.
Well, is there anything you could tell our listeners, like,
sure.
to
I'll tell you this. It's
to get in touch
interesting.
with it?
It's interesting because really what at the core of what I shared just a moment ago, which was I went within to my place of spirituality, which is my heart, my soul, closed my eyes. I went within to that divine light inside, and I aligned in a way with the universe. I aligned with the divinity of who I already am, which is God in expression as a human being. If everything is God in expression, so am I. So there's nothing inherently wrong that a lot of religious organizations will teach you. There's nothing wrong with you. Our choices can be made in a godly way or a very ungodly way.
Right. We have free will. Yeah.
We have free will.
Free will.
And so it's really interesting. So we have to be in alignment. And what I didn't mention about writing that book, which was I had been sitting for 3 years writing another book. I spent several $1,000s, a lot of time and effort. It never finished because it wasn't meant to. I wasn't in alignment. I was doing it for a totally different reason.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you get in alignment, so if your life feels like doors aren't opening easily for you, or opportunities aren't showing up, or there always seems to be some kind of strange drama in your life that it's almost like you are attracting it. It's probably because you are. And I say that respectfully to the listener and to the viewers, but really it's because you're not spending enough time with your soul self, with maybe what you call God, what you call the angels, the spirit world, the universe. Even walking through nature is an act of spirituality. It's an act of religion, if you want to call it that. It's a connection with all that is around you. And we are an extension of that. So I always tell people to really some of the easiest ways for us to connect with the universe is not only to initiate like a routine every day where we, I call it tithing back to the universe or tithing back to the creator, just a portion of the life that I've been blessed with. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes. I love to sit for an hour in meditation. I don't have a lot of time some days, but really meditation and prayer is a moment of tithing. You're tithing back what you have been given, which is today's breath. And I always tease my audiences and crack this joke, but I'll say it again because it's so appropriate. If you woke up today and you took a breath, guess what? You still have purpose on the earth.
Oh,
There's
I
a
love that.
reason you're here.
Yes.
You have not been recalled back to the great cloud in the sky. And so we have a purpose. What is it? Well, that's a great question. And another issue is a lot of times we get super comfortable. And I think it's the age we live in. We are information rich and
Oh my gosh,
experience and
yes.
opportunity rich, which means we can just pick and choose and be involved in something in 5 minutes, meaning I can be in a program virtually that's broadcasting from around the world or a different side of the planet or something, or I can literally run to an experience, drive to an experience, and I'm immersed in something. There's always something available to immerse us in. But that's the problem is it creates a type of lazy, really a way of lazy living, a lazy thinking. We don't have to think so hard because there's so much available to us.
Right.
And so if we don't know what our purpose is, have we even asked the questions, well, what do I love? That's probably one of the most basic questions in the core of my programs, my events, my teachings. What do you love? What am I saying? I'm asking you, what makes your soul beam? Right? You just feel like you're beaming when you're doing it. You lose track of time. That's another component.
Yes, you lose track of time.
Lose track of time.
Yes.
And really, so what do you love? What lights you up? What and you can't be analytical. You can't think, well, you know what? I love sport fishing, and I can make $1 million this year if I do that. Well, yeah, it may be fun. It may be really cool.
Yeah.
And you may have some titles and get some trophies and make some money and sponsors, but is it really your purpose?
Right.
And how do you know if what you've chosen or what you think the door you think you're walking through, how do you know that's the real purpose?
Right.
Right. And I'll say this, we don't have one purpose for our whole life.
Okay, that was on the tip of my tongue. I was
used to
going to
think
say,
we did.
can
You
our
don't have
life
one.
purpose change?
Just like the seasons
Right.
of the year, you have seasons of life, and you will go through seasons. For the last 33 years,
Yeah.
last 33 years, the season of my purpose was to be a nurse. I'm still a nurse. I'm still practicing. I've been doing anesthesia for 20 years and as a nurse. And so that's what I'm currently doing a lot, and also speaking and serving, but I'm doing some extra things as well.
Yeah.
So we have to think about, I'm moving into a new era. And Spirit told me years ago, before I even went into anesthesia school, I knew it was coming. I knew that bucket list life goal. I knew I'm going to say the hell I went through in the program to get that degree, and
Oh my gosh.
journey to get to where I needed to be to even get invited to go. It's a difficult program to get into.
Yeah.
It's the top of the industry, and I'm willing to walk away from it because I know there's something higher vibrationally for my life going forward, which is speaking, coaching, serving, teaching, holding space, creating retreats and ceremonies. That's what I want to do.
I love it. You're raising the consciousness of the planet, raising the vibration, and we need more.
And I'm still healing. I'm still nursing your souls because I'm doing it by holding safe space and being inclusive and helping you better your life. Well, that's what a nurse does. A nurse holds space, helps you better your current state of being. So I'm still doing it. I'm still healing people. I'm doing it in a different way. So yeah, that's kind of, but really think about, is this the right purpose? Have I chosen the right purpose? Because I'm an overthinker.
Yeah.
So I'll say this. I'm definitely an overthinker. And so if you say, for instance, let me find a good example. What's a good example? I'm just going to take the fisherman experience that I mentioned a moment ago. Okay, so you decide you're going to be a sports fisherman. You want to make all this money, and you want to have the titles. You want to be happy. You want to have a job that has you in the middle of nature. That fits the bill. And it also has a type of camaraderie, a community that fits the bill because there's all the sports lovers and the fans and all that. But here's the thing. How fulfilling will it be? You may be very happy, but let's go a little deeper. How about if we ask, why is that important to you? that you need to be a sports fisherman?
Mm-hmm.
And if you answer that question, you have literally moved the gauge in life forward as to whether this is really your life purpose, because the why will answer. For me, I will say, when I decided what my purpose would be, which would be to serve people in a ministerial way,
Right.
to create spiritual programs and ceremonies, and to run a church, a metaphysical church, I thought, well, why am I doing this? Why is this so important?
Right.
And I realized it's because I never felt seen. I never felt heard. I never felt valued. I didn't feel safe, for sure. And I didn't like seeing people being discriminated against for their religious beliefs, for their skin color, for their sexuality, for their gender, for whatever it may be, political party affiliation. I mean, there's so many things, but
Yeah.
I didn't want that. I wanted a place of inclusivity, which was really not common in the church concept. I mean, you really are, you're a white Southern Baptist church, or you tend to be a Black Southern Baptist church, typically. Now, there's always the outliers that come and visit.
Yeah.
And some churches do a good job mixing, but what was important was that I created a space that literally reminded me of what I would have wanted growing up.
I love it.
And the why was, I want to make sure that nobody has to experience what I went through as a child, what I went through in my teenage years, what I still go through in my adult years. I'm still facing issues with my family.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Yeah.
not only shunned from my family, but I couldn't spend the holidays with them because of their thought processes and
Right.
and how they view me. And so, and that's okay. That's their soul's journey, is to play that role for me. So there's something there for me to learn. It's not pleasant, emotional, but you know what? I
Yeah.
get it. I know there's a bigger reason. So really, the thing is, if you don't know if whatever you've chosen is your purpose, and or maybe you have a whole bunch of them, why don't you ask yourself, why is
The why.
A, B, C, D, or E? Why is each one so important to you? And then journal that out. And I guarantee you, one will stand out above all of them.
Right. And it's the why that keeps you going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's, why it keeps you going. That's the fuel.
Yes.
Without that why, you'll never know why you're driven to be a sports fisherman, for example.
Right.
But if you know your why, you may come along and say, you know what, Kevin, you don't need to be a sports fisherman. You should be a metaphysical minister. And I'm thinking, excuse me, I want a boat. I want to be on the ocean. I want to be out doing all this stuff. And you want me to be in a building on land?
Uh-huh.
Really, I could get swayed if I listened to you and to your opinion. So the why is critical to holding you. It anchors you to your divine plan. It really anchors you in life. And no matter what comes at you, you can weather that storm.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I know you have an event coming up that I want to have you talk about briefly, but one more question. I loved your 10 principles of how to live in the book, 10 principles of how to live. And the first one, faith brings light to a dark world. Do you ever lose your faith? And
I don't necessarily lose my faith.
Yeah.
And
there's so much going on right now in the world. You turn on the news and it's just like, how do you stay anchored?
You know what it is? I realize that faith for me is different than for a lot of people. Faith for me is knowing my spiritual beliefs, realizing that there's something greater than myself in the world that operates for my benefit, knowing that there's something divine that is expressing through me as me, knowing that my loved ones who have made their transition into the spirit world of life, I know they're literally listening to me and you right now. I know that they do come to us in their dreams. My mom just came to me for the first time since she passed for many years ago in a beautiful dream. I know that was a visitation because it was so unique. And so I know I'm never alone. And that's one thing I always felt. I felt alone, but I was still surrounded by people. I just felt like nobody was there to support me. And I know that we are supported by the spirit world. And I know that the angels do minister to us. And I know that there are master teachers that come and minister to us. Jesus supports a lot of people on the planet. And he is not concerned today, just as he was not concerned in Bible times,
Right.
what your religion is, sexual orientation, political affiliation. He didn't care about all that because that man was a rebel in the Bible and would do things that were so taboo.
Oh my gosh.
He would shake things up. He was a zealot. That's a good word for him. He would shake the ruling parties constantly and make people think. And really, I like that. I kind of do that sometimes in my work. I want people to be shook because I want to shake you up like a snow globe, and I want to let that new snow of my perspectives that I've become aware of. I want that to fall on your mind and let you process that. And I want you to figure out, does it resonate with your soul? Then take it, right? Take it and go with it. If it doesn't resonate with you, brush it off and keep going, because maybe I'm not for you. I'm not for everybody. So really, that's just something to think about. I don't lose faith. Do I have moments of my humanness? Oh, heck yes.
Right.
I do. And it is a painful journey. And there's a reason for that spiritually, because if it was an easy, peaceful life, there would not be the spiritual growth that we need for our souls. It would be very slowed down.
Right.
And so these difficult lessons and painful moments and traumas and tragedies are incredibly valuable and experience-rich situations that our soul learns from. And not only for us, our soul takes it back to the spirit world and shares those experiences and all of the sensory stimulation that this physical body brings. It's all taken back to the spirit world and shared, and they learn. Because not all souls come to earth, meaning there's a lot of beings of love and light, souls, that choose never to come here. And it's funny because one time I was told by a prophet that some of the most craziest of souls are basically choose to come to earth because they know it's one of the most difficult places to express and to experience a part of the soul's journey. It's very difficult in this dimension, because the higher dimensions, think fourth, fifth, sixth, and on, they're much more refined, much more spiritual, much more positive, much more godly, if you want to call it that, much more angelic. And so the third dimension is a lower, much more difficult, denser, I'm going to say darker, because it's a difficult journey here. So that's just a little teaching concept I thought your listeners might like. But we're all here. We're human. We're going to make mistakes. And if we're not meant to be perfect, if we were meant to be perfect, we would not be here. We wouldn't need to be here. And that's the word. We wouldn't need to be here. Right.
And I know you have an event coming up.
I do.
Can you tell us about it? Because I would love the listeners.
I'm super excited.
Yes,
just a quick little announcement. So this is my largest event I've hosted ever. It's a virtual event, and it is really the core of my book. Again, Your Divine Purpose. The event is called Divine Purpose Live, because what I'm doing is I'm taking components from the book, components from my 6-month purpose discovery coaching program, and I'm building this 3-day event, December 7th, 8th, and 9th, next week. And you're going to get a taste of the work that I do, the techniques. You're going to get a taste of a lot of concepts and how to begin to build. It's really like a trail of breadcrumbs. How can we start discovering what really are your values? I mean, nobody sits around wanting to know their values. So it's about getting you to go within and to really do that. So I'm excited to share that with people on a virtual platform. And we'll share that with your audience. So I can't wait. And a gift for you, because I think your people will really enjoy this. I have a purpose discovery toolkit that has a wonderful meditation to find your purpose. It has a beautiful journal that has, it's a workbook with a journal and questions to really pull out of you some core components of finding your purpose. And so that toolkit is available for you all. It's free. It's a beautiful gift. And I know you're going to love it.
Thank you.
I get a lot of good reviews on it.
I'm so excited. And I'm going to leave all of the links in the show notes.
Absolutely.
So everybody can sign up for your event, because this is important work in the world. We need more light in the world. We need more light in the world. And now I think is the time that people are connecting to their spirit. They're realizing that there is nothing external that can really fulfill us.
Nope.
I really do believe it is living a life of service. I know, for me, even starting this podcast at the beginning of the year was heart driven, because my path, becoming a yoga teacher, and we'll get into that. It'll be another podcast with you and I, for sure. Because I was always connected to my spirit from quite young. But I became a yoga teacher, and, during 2020, everything shut down. The studio I taught at shut down. And I was just like, oh my gosh, there's still that teacher in me who wants to share. And for me, it's about connecting people to their spirit and connecting to that sense of peace that's inside of us, that so many people are missing, and it's right here in our heart. And there's nothing more fulfilling than that. And for me, that's I know part of my divine life purpose. I think maybe I'm scratching the surface. I don't know. You're going to help me with that, Kevin.
Yes, absolutely.
I know you were placed in my life for a purpose, for sure. And I'm so grateful that you're here. And before we end, just one little baby question left.
Sure.
What is your favorite way to sprinkle your life with spirit every day? Is it your meditation? Is it staring at the sunset, or is it a quiet cup of tea? What's your favorite way to sprinkle your life with spirit?
I would say two things. I love nature. So anytime I'm out in nature, I blend my love of nature with my gratitude. So I really try to live gratitude in motion. And as an expression of gratitude, I try to be as kind as I can to anybody and everybody that I meet. So while I'm out about town, in the area, I'm just always saying, thank you, Spirit. Thank you for that beautiful cloud. That's amazing. Thank you, Spirit, for the colors of the sunset. Thank you, Spirit, for that nice lady that just served me. And so I stand in kindness, because I think the world needs a lot more kindness. Yeah. So but I also, in addition, it's about gratitude and my love of nature. So I'm always trying to find spirit in nature through beauty. Really, it's beauty.
I love that. Gratitude is so powerful. Gratitude is so powerful. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
I honor you. I am so grateful to know you, and the work that you do in the world.
Thank you.
Is so meaningful, and you're going to help so many people. You're going to help so many people. And this is one of many, I hope. I'd love to have you back, because I have so many more questions and conversations that I would love to have with you. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining me for this extra sprinkle of spirit this week with Kevin Lee. Be sure to check out all of the links in the show notes. And I hope you guys had your journal out for that one. There were so many golden nuggets, sprinkles of spirit in our conversation. So I will definitely have him on again. So until next time, have a beautiful week. Namaste.